to the VIP.
Yeah, the IP, VIP.
Don't wait, cause tonight's on me.
It's on me, baby, all on me, yeah.
Sexy models, champagne bottles.
Yeah, the IP, VIP.
Got 2 models, need more bottles.
Auto and a model got a bottle.
There's only one side.
B. Taylor. Yeah, the IP, VIP. It's on me, baby, all on me, yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. Today we got a lot of things to cover, including in entertainment news. Looks like the world famous KROQ might be hitting a downward spiral that could cost them the station. In sports, tragic day in sports today as the body of former WWE wrestler Shad Gaspard has been finally found and identified off the coast of California. We'll talk a little bit about that. In video game news, looks like the new DLC for Call of Duty Modern Warfare has a couple of secrets that we're going to go ahead and talk about. Plus, special guest today, world famous producer Ronnie King chats a little bit about, gives us a little bit some stories on how he started in producing music and all the amazing artists that he has worked with and continues to work with to this day. But first, here is AB's Nobody right here on the Xander Effect.
I told y'all these bitches ain't fucking with me like that.
House Kid the producer.
Phone whip when I'm driving, ayy. Pulling up in that Mozzie, ayy. Tattoos on my body, ayy. Through a dinner is private, ayy. I'm for sure you a probably, ayy. Got the bitch on the molly, ayy. I'm a church and they copy, ayy. Talking shit and they hiding, ayy. I'm busy getting a check. Got them upset and they vex. I'm in their neck. I just got brand new address. I just might land on the jet. Tell me what's next. I got the Louis on me. I got them jewels on my teeth. Swear that they be. Just go and Google the drip. Bitch, I am who you gon' see.
Say you got a bitch, but you keep fucking with me. Touchdown in the 305, hop out the PJ. Bank account so long, it look like Oprah Winfrey. Shit too easy, ain't nobody fucking with me.
Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me.
I need a Spencer thing, yeah, that's what I like. And take a bit spot, yeah, that's what I might. Jose, I'm drinking all, yeah, turn up tonight. Wanna hang with the gang, need an invite. Run it up, fuck it up, broke bitch, shut it up. Broke boy, I won't give a fuck. Pussy good, but I don't give it up, yeah. I just be doing my thing, yeah. No NBA, I got rings, yeah. Robins is all in my jeans, yeah. Say you got a bitch, but you keep fucking with me. Touchdown in the 305, hop out the PJ. Bank account so long, it look like Oprah Winfrey. Shit too easy, ain't nobody fucking with me.
Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me.
Shit so easy, baby. The why she call up easy, baby. Ice wet might freeze me, baby. Late pipe, she say don't leave me, baby. Send pics been teasing lately. Then on that pussy, yeah, he the greatest. Late night creep be the crazy. Don't spit out that nut, say eat it, baby. Who fucking with her, say nobody. Baby, stop playing that rim in that body. I'm really tryna get inside it. Put this so wet, say ooh, excited. Tryna get with you one night. Throw it back, baby, say ooh, she fighting. Grab her back, say ooh, she biting. Pulling me in, ooh, she like it. Ring, 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 call AB. Or that tough dumb nigga can't play me. Too cool little nigga say Swayze. Ballin' on that nigga, call me yellow KD. Or you can call a nigga yellow AD. Nut up on the grill, tell that bitch say cheese. Beg for the dick, make the mama say please. Beat the pussy real, real lazy.
Say you got a bitch, but you keep fucking with me. Touchdown in the 305, hop out the PJ. Bank account so long, it look like Oprah Winfrey. Shit too easy, ain't nobody fucking with me.
Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me. Shit so easy, ain't nobody fucking with me.
It's AB, baby. And my boy, Yellow Beezy. Yeah, we fuck it up.
That was AB's Nobody right here on the Xander Effect. In entertainment news, the world famous KROQ seems to be heading on a downward spiral, apparently. And some people are kind of blaming the new brand manager, Mike Kaplan, because, ever since he started off in KROQ, a lot of changes have been going on. And they've been changes that a lot of people haven't been too happy with. Mike Kaplan has actually coined the nickname in certain circles called Mike the Show Killer, and basically the people that came up with that were the jocks at his former station, which is Alt 98.7 here in Los Angeles, and it seems to be kind of a trend right now because apparently Kaplan's new vision for KROQ hasn't been doing too well, and it hasn't been received too well, not just by people that work at KROQ, but also former employees. Obviously, Mike Kaplan was the one that fired, Kevin the Morning with Ali and Jensen. He fired all of them. It was a mass dismissal by all of them that was actually on the air. Kevin went ahead and said his goodbyes on the air when they were all being let go from the station. And there's also been other rumors basically saying that Kaplan is demanding that everybody use the call letters of the show KROQ instead of calling it KROQ, which basically that's the name of the show. That's what the station has been called for so many years. But apparently Kaplan has a different vision for KROQ, and he went on to go ahead and say, quote, "Listeners absolutely expect rock to be a significant sound on the station. Over the last 5 to 10 years, the appetite for new alternative music with our core audience was not as strong as it had been previously. There have not been as many big hits that have stuck around. I wish we could play as much new music as possible, but that was not what our audience said that they wanted. Alternative has been leaning more pop, and the expectations from our audience were more rock leaning. The artists that consistently performed the best were Foo Fighters, Linkin Park, Muse, Killers, Green Day." When asked about the whole, him demanding people to use the call letters instead of KROQ, he said, quote, "Rock music is part of what we do. It's part of alternative, but it's not the only part of alternative. We're not just looking to play 4 white dudes in a band. Our audience is as diverse as ever, and our playlist needs to be too. Whether it's Billie Eilish or Lana Del Rey or rappers making alternative tracks such as 24K Golden and Dominic Fike, we're bringing together what millennials and Gen Z fans want. There are really no boundaries when you think about music today. We're not a singular focus where we get so pigeonholed and lack diverse options. We don't just stand for one thing. It's a lifestyle and an attitude." You know what? It's crazy because although I tend to agree a little bit with what Kaplan is saying, it's like the old saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. People, audiences here in Los Angeles have always known KROQ to be rock and alternative music. It has never been known to be hip-hop or pop. It has always been KROQ. And that's the thing that Kaplan's trying to change. But it's one of those things where it's like, dude, you can't really do that because you already have stations that play rock, hip-hop, pop, rap, and that's called Kiss FM. Basically those are the stations that play that, so you're trying to be another Kiss FM, and that doesn't make any sense, especially these days. Now, if you would have started off like that, like many stations start off, okay, this is our platform, this is the type of music we're gonna play, this is what it's gonna be all about from the very beginning, then there wouldn't be a problem. But people have gotten so used to KROQ being rock that you're trying to change it up, and so that demographic is starting to go down, and you're starting to lose listeners. And by the looks of it, if you continue on with this, Kaplan, you're gonna lose the station in due time. Trust me on that. I'm just giving you my 2 cents worth, guy. You've already started to see it go down, and you got the nickname Show Killer for a reason. You might want to rethink your approach to KROQ. In other entertainment news, Musical artist Sawyer has adopted 2 teenage boys that were about to be, thrown out of foster care. The two boys were like just pretty much inches away from being thrown out of the foster care system. So before that happened, Sawyer decided to put guardianship to these 2 boys and give them a home. Which they're both actually. They were actually 18 when she adopted them. They're 19 now. And the thing is that, that might be a little strange, but you need to understand that if these kids were in foster care for so many years and they were about to be tossed out, it wouldn't have been a good future for these boys. At least this way, Sawyer has decided to do a good thing by adopting these 2 boys, giving them a chance at a better life and possibly, become better members of society. Obviously, we know that a lot of the times these kids that end up leaving the foster care system, they don't end up in a good place in their lives. They could succumb to so many things: drugs, human trafficking, gangs, the works. So what Sawyer did was amazing. Props to her for adopting these two guys and giving them a good home. In other entertainment news, Future is getting sued by his baby's mother. Apparently, it seems that Illijah Seraphin, she basically is putting in a lawsuit together against the hip-hop artist. And it's basically saying that, he threatened her. And the thing is that they did a DNA, they did a paternity test, and yes, the baby is in fact his. But he didn't want anything to do with her. He was pretty much, texting her saying, quote, TMZ, this B stole my last name. I think that's what I heard. I will never respect a clout-chasing B, never FOH. So, and it went on to other types of derogatory terms against her. He also sent another text saying, "Let your lawyers speak for you at this point. You bogus, stole my last name. Now you want to be relevant. Just fall back off the net trying to prove a point." So there's so many things going on right now with what's going on with these texts. Basically, calling her names, and also she's saying that he actually threatened to kill her while she was pregnant in order to make her have an abortion. So right now, Illijah is suing Future for libel, slander, and emotional distress. So it looks like it's going to be a tough one for Future to get out of, especially if she's got proof with those texts. And of course, the little girl is his. So yeah, it's going to be tough times for Future in the near future. In other entertainment news, I had the opportunity to interview world famous producer Ronnie King, and man, his stories are amazing. He has produced music with some of hip-hop's legends, some of rock legends, and it's just incredible, all the stories that he told. But first, here is Amanda Holley's Feenin, right here on the Xander Effect. Xander Effect, I have producer, and the man is a legend in the music industry. His name is Ronnie King. Ronnie, welcome back to the Xander Effect. I had you on here before with Lifeline, the band that you're currently doing music with, but Lifeline's not the only band that you've done music with. I mean, you've done music with legends in the sport, I might say. So definitely welcome back on the Xander Effect.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Thanks for having me. And I'm sure it's going to be another fine interview with you. And yes, we are going to be doing the new Lifeline record. It's going to be fun.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that. But now we're going to talk about you specifically. When Lifeline, when the lead singer Beto told me about you, I was just like, wow, this guy's a legend in the music industry. And you know, how does one get to become a legend? I mean, how did you get started in music to begin with?
Yeah, well, kind of interesting. I mean, I've been playing music my whole life. Then I went into playing in bars, you know, when I was young, like 14. My brother John had a band, so we would play, at whatever, church events or whatever. But basically at that point, about 14, it was like, yeah, man, come play this show with us, and here's $150.
Oh, wow.
So I was kind of like, wow, I could play the keyboards and make money. That was kind of like the fun part of it. And then just probably from about 14, I played in like nightclubs. And actually, when I was a senior in high school, I was playing at a bar, and I'd go up to the bar, I'd play my set, and then they would literally have a guy from the front desk come get me and then put me in the lobby until the 15-minute break was up. Then they'd put me back on stage, and that was the way they got around it when I was in high school. So I've always had kind of a brain for commerce and music. And then at the same time, I was studying in college piano, and my piano teacher just said, "Bro, look, you're never gonna be in the LA Philharmonic, so you might as well just go do what you want to do anyway." And I was like, cool. So I came out of a nightclub one night. We had just popped up, had a great show here in the Coachella Valley. And my wife, Lisa, she was my girlfriend at the time, came out. I'm like, man, I freaking killed it. And she goes, dude, you can have that attitude when you make $1 million, right? Uh-huh. So it was just like, I said, I'm going to LA. I'm going to play with everybody. And that was my thing. That was my mantra when I would drive through downtown LA was I'm going to play with everybody I can in this town. And that's literally what happened. I started
put that in the
South
universe,
Central
then,
LA with Battle Cat. Well, I did. I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but I knew that I loved playing music, and I was educated, I guess. And then, me and my brother Bobby went to LA, and we started a band called the Pseudo Negro, believe it or not. And we went and played at World on Wheels in about 1990. And NWA was just killing the game at that time.
Yeah.
And we went there and played. We played with the Uzi Brothers, and everybody looked at us like, what the hell are we just seeing? And then a guy, Richie Rich, came up from the LA Dream Team, and he goes, tomorrow you're going to Jerry Heller's office with me, and he needs to meet you.
Oh, man, the infamous Jerry Heller.
And that was it. Hey, it was literally, that was it. I mean, the Uzi Brothers were like, man, you play the hell out of that keyboards. I mean, and I just that was the coolest thing for me because I was never looked down on because of my color or, there was none of that. It was just like, you play great music and that's all we need. So
it was all about the music.
It's always, for me, it's always been about the music, man. I mean, bottom line, I mean, it's like, that was it. And I was in a lot of cars, but, at that time, the press or to be the popular kid in school, it just wasn't viable at the time because everything was so turmoil. So they don't want to go, yeah, man, the main keyboard player on freaking, HWA is a white dude. It just wasn't, it didn't fit, especially when I was from Palm Springs, right? So Jerry just said, dude, keep your head down, stay in the car, and collect the check. Just
Was
do
it
that.
like when you were working with Jerry Heller? I mean, were the like, you know, because I've seen Straight Outta Compton, I've read the articles, I've heard the interviews from everything. I mean, was Jerry Heller like what Ice Cube portrayed him as, or as Dr. Dre portrayed him as in the movie and in real life?
Well, Jerry was like 6'4", dude. I mean, he was maybe 6'3". He was a big guy.
Wow.
So in the movie, they had it all wrong. They had him playing like a little Jewish guy, right?
Yeah, like he was really short.
No, he wasn't. He was like 6'3", probably 220, and he pushed people around. And, you know, he had a great mind for business. He had a desk over at Macola Records, which is where they were all pressing. Everybody was pressing everything on the West Side. And, you know, I mean, obviously the history speaks for itself, so I don't need to speak too much on Ruthless Records. But Jerry just said, you know what, Ronnie, you have a talent that we need here at the label. You can play stuff. You can play it quick. It was before the computers. So you had to really play. I mean, we would play the songs live through the whole, you know, on the 2-inch tape, man. So it was like, I just fit the bill, basically. And that's what I did, man. I would work literally from 10 in the morning to freaking 2 in the morning, really. I mean, COD, quick. I mean, dude, I was just hanging out at every studio, just going in, playing 2 or 3 parts so they could just keep it moving. And then that was it, you know, and then go to another session, you know? So that freelance thing Jerry was really right for me on that. Like, you don't have to be the star in the room, but just like you say, keep your head down and stay in the car. So around that time I met Johnny J, and Johnny J was Tupac's producer on everything from How Do You Want It to Hit 'Em Up to blah, blah, blah. That story is a whole nother story. And then Johnny said the same thing. We need a guy like you that can come in and just replay samples really fast, and you hang and you're cool. And so after with Ruthless, and at that time I was making records with Julio G from 92.3 The Beat, Tony G, who did Mentirosa, did Kid Frost, La Rasta. I mean, that's L.A.
Yep.
That's like, I don't know. I don't even need to go. But I was like,
yeah, Mentirosa, dude. You just took me back for a second. Mentirosa and La Raza. My God, those are songs from back in the day, man.
And I was doing all those records. We were doing it in East LA, up a Cogswell Boulevard, and we were doing so many records. I mean, at that time, it was like, man, just so many records. I was with Julio, Pac, Frost. I mean, Snoop, Early, Busy Bone. I mean,
like, how was it like working with these legends of hip hop? You know, I mean, how was it like, especially working with Tupac? How was it like working with him?
Well, he was all business and it was all work, you know, at that time. Thank God I had Jerry Heller in my corner, because, you know, Death Row wasn't the easiest record company to navigate through. And I had Johnny J always looked out for me, and as long as I was there to play the music, I was good. I'm good. That was like my thing. And then when the politics came in or whatever, I would just go to Jerry and say, hey, Jerry, can you fix it? You know? And then Johnny would say, hey, well, no, you're going to have to go talk to Suge Knight. Go walk down the red carpet. I was like, I don't like that.
Oh, man, that must have been
then,
tough.
But then, you know, it was just known that I was the keyboard dude on the West Coast here. And I wasn't producing a lot at that time. I was just playing, you know, I was just playing records. And that went from 1990 really to the current time. I mean, but at the same time, I was touring with Rancid for years, which was a punk rock band.
So you weren't just generally, you know, in hip hop. You were diving into all genres of music at this point.
Dude, I mean, the book's called Punks and Thugs, okay? So I would go to punk sessions with Rancid, The Offspring, Pennywise, because I got signed a big record deal with Jack Grisham from TSOL. We had our band called The Joy Killer, and we were out touring. And so when I wasn't touring, I would just come back and boom, go right back to Death Row. And I mean, it was very rangy. It was a lot of different music at the same time. So not only did I have the touring career, but I had the studio career and writing. And then, you know, it was cool because after everybody kind of left Death Row and it was kind of dismantling at the time, Johnny was like, hey, we're going to keep this party going and we're just going to go do it up at the house. And he bought a bunch of recording gear. And that's when the phase in of all the, you know, recording gear, you could do it at your house, make records, make beats, you know. Mm-hmm. But we were still using the SP1200, you know.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you really didn't need you didn't, like, people started figuring out that you really didn't need a big studio. You could easily create a studio at home as long as you have the right equipment.
Yeah, and the drum, and the big thing at that time was if you were a drum programmer, right? So a lot of the DJs that came up from the West Side or even New York or really the world, they were making beats. And I wasn't really a beat maker. I was a keyboard dude. So, but the thing is there was a lot of legalities going on with how you get through the sampling rights, and that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But I'll simplify it for people that don't know anything about publishing, because that's how as artists make a lot of money, right, through our publishing.
Right.
So I would go in and replay a Roger Troutman sample, and then that was it. So then no one would really have to pay the original recording licensing for that. Then they switched it and said, well, you can't even interpolate it. So then there was like, well, if you're going to play it and you're not going to pay, you know, for the song, then you're going to have to pay a smaller percentage to the writer of the original that we know you took it from. Like all the earlier songs, you know, from there, they were like, you know, freaking Vanilla Ice came out with Under Pressure. Come on, I mean, like from Queen and David Bowie.
Yeah, they went ahead. He went ahead and remixed it to Ice Ice Baby at that point.
Right, but the rules were you could take 4 seconds. I mean, I don't want to get too technical on everybody right now, but anyway, the sampling laws were changing. So as they were changing, we were manipulating the business. So basically, at the end of it, they said you can't even make it sound like a Roger Troutman sample. So we went, okay, well, we'll just they were like, funny, one time, I think it was Julio or Tony G, they're just like, play it in reverse. You know what I mean? And then I was like, what?
That's innovative.
I turned the song around, flipped it in reverse, and it was like, it sounded like a Roger Troutman sample, but it was in reverse. So then it was just like, oh, we got the hook. And then basically after that, I mean, that was my, you know, kind of like my forte is just being the keyboard guy. Because like I say, still at that time, we didn't want to spend a lot of time, you know, time is money. And then those studios are expensive, even going in and recording on the 2-inch or just at the house. I mean, and plus, guys, we weren't really like up on all the MIDI and programming, and it all had to, you know.
Yeah, because Pro Tools wasn't invented yet at this point, right?
Well, it was just coming in, but we would only use it for vocals. You could only get like 6 tracks on it, you know. And
so
they were
loud. It was just barely starting to get, you know, like the inception was barely starting to get in there. But I'm curious, at this time, were you like crossing over to being a producer, or were you still just, you know,
I was producing it the whole time. I was actually around that time. I was producing Big Sight from Thug Life with Mo Preem and producing punk rock bands like Total Chaos, and so, you know, it's like doing it all was kind of like I say, like it's all about the music. I mean, they were like, Ronnie, come in, and then if it was me and Big Sight, we'd just be sitting there. He'd have the drum machine. I'd have the keyboards, and we would just go at it, you know?
Well, but keyboards was your complete forte. You didn't really touch any other instruments.
I didn't mess around really with the drum machines because there was always great drum programmers around. It was like it just I didn't have to really mess around with that. But you know, since I was in hip hop, it was funny. I did a Offspring single called "Hit That" that really became their second biggest song in history, which was interesting. They did "Keep 'Em Separated."
Yeah,
was the first one,
uh-huh.
but this second one, "Hit That," was very popular in the world. And I went in there, and he's like, "Dude, play that Dr. Dre stuff with your moog." I'm like, "What?" And then he's like, "No, do those." Man, I was so confused on what he really wanted me to do, but I just kind of did it, and it became a very, very, very big song. So as we see music progress, you know, we've went from taking samples from other people, da 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 da. Pretty soon now it's a DJs doing a lot of producing. You know, I'm going back into my orchestral world. So I'm really having a great time just playing the piano and, you know, making orchestral songs. But I'm doing a record that I'm going to take all the hit songs that I ever did, or the ones that were really popular, and make them like orchestral songs and redo them. And then hopefully like Busy Bone or The Offspring or Frost, they'll want to get back on the original track, but now it'll have an orchestra on it. You know what I mean?
Nice. No, that sounds like a great idea. And you mentioned how you know, music started changing. How was it like when, you know, with the licensing and everything? How was it like when Napster came around? I mean, how much of a hit did you take when Napster was formed?
Well, nobody knew about like streaming media, so we weren't really concerned with that really too much. Kind of the fun part about it with us is we would pay a guy like $250, and then he would somehow have this device on his computer where it would give us a bunch of listens, you know, like they do now, you know. So Napster, it was just like, oh, we were playing, we're playing, you know. And but at that time it wasn't really the business yet. Nobody even knew it. But you know, then the lawsuit came in, and all of a sudden everybody's getting huge checks from the social media game at that time. It was amazing. But no, we didn't really care too much about the Napster thing. I mean, my business, you know, I'm a walk in the room, let me play your stuff, let me save you like 25 grand, and you know, you figure out what you want to pay me, you know what I mean? Type thing.
No, that's pretty simple enough. I mean, obviously the game has changed over the years now. You know, now that we have Spotify, Pandora, you know, you got YouTube, you got all this stuff. I mean, how have you adapted with the change of the times?
Oh, well, for me, I'm just in the system, dude. I'm in the system so heavy because all those records I did for, you know, 20 years, they're still selling, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just had not to talk out of school or anything, but with this pandemic, everybody's sitting at home listening to records again. And this first quarter was huge, man. It's
I bet.
You know, January to now, people have been sitting on their computer, and every time they hit that link, you know, keep pressing the button. But no, we're good. I mean, the social media thing is cool. Obviously, we feel we should probably be making more money with Spotify and iTunes and whatnot. That's going to have to adjust itself, but the production business and the writing and what I do, it's still valuable, you know, so it's still worth something. So I haven't really felt the hit too much anyway. And I've been touring for the last 3-4 years. I've been out with Pepper. I just was up for a Grammy this year with Steel Pulse. I still feel very relevant, but just I'm in a different car. I'm in a bigger car, you know. I'm not in a hoopty anymore. I'm like in the Escalade, you know.
I mean,
kicking it in the back.
Dude, let me tell you something right now, man. Like, seriously, you've been in an Escalade for the longest time. I mean, you've been nominated for Grammys like so many times. I mean, you have like records, like you have platinum, gold, you have all that stuff. You've been in a Lambo. You haven't been you've been in a Lambo this entire time. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so don't sell yourself short by any means.
You know, the funny thing is still a handshake business, man, to me. Pocketbook that wants to really develop an artist. I mean, that's still the number one thing, you know? And whether it's a record company or it's an independent banking guy or it's just some rich guy who just wants to give, 300 G's to an artist that I like or something like that. I mean, that's real money, and it's not like, I don't know. It's not a dream. It's like, that's the reality of the game. It's like, yes, we need all the social media numbers. Yes, we need to be doing podcasts. Yes, we need to be doing all that. But will I ever be a Tekashi 6ix9ine? Probably not.
Well, I mean, I think you surpassed Tekashi in pretty much in all the music that you've done over the past like years or so. I mean, I think you surpassed that.
Hey, but if you've seen that video stuff the last couple days, it's like you can't really say no that it's not happening.
True.
It's like, yeah, man, you're breaking records and you're blowing it up, and those are real.
That has a lot, Ronnie. That at the end of the day has also to do with the fact of the matter. So many people are at home, and they have a lot more time on their hands. Obviously,
yeah.
So obviously, that's gonna, like you said so yourself. You've seen a spike in numbers of the music that you've had, so that has a lot to do with it. With the fact of the matter that people are home. Now, if people weren't home and they were going about their normal lives and everything, which nowadays normal is, a term at this point, the numbers would be different. I would imagine the numbers would actually be different.
No, I've seen a huge spike. I mean, people are watching TV. I mean, that's why I was so stoked with the Pepper track. I mean, that was just like how, people are watching Netflix and then we're able to use that. And hopefully once we get back out on tour again and all that, it'll all play into it. But, it's kind of comes and goes too. It's like, okay, what's the next thing, you're going to do? What's the next track? What's going to be the next deal? I'm working with a real beautiful little artist. She's 18, a star is her name. She's here at the ranch, as we speak. But she's 18 and she's young and her father's very well known in the business, knows the business great. So she has a little better shot than maybe most. But then at the same time, you just got to keep your head down and go after your dream and it'll keep going,
That's pretty much all you can do at this point. But, at the end of the day, would you think that all this stuff, all this preparation that you guys are doing currently right now is going to be a great, I would say, a great starting point for the tours that you might have planned out when all this craziness is over with?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, because we have to. I mean, for me, I'm putting a newsroom in my studio. It's going to be like CNN, and I've already got like so many friends of mine in the business are like, hey, Ronnie, can we come down for a weekend and shoot a bunch of shows? And because I'm going to have professional lighting, the nice flat screen in the back. I mean, that's kind of like my thing that I think I can contribute to the music business is, I love all the podcasts where people or the video casts where they're in their living room and they're hanging. And that's all really cool. But I'm kind of like an industry guy and I like nice studios and I like being on the big stage and I like the lights and I like the whole camera action.
You've been spoiled, in other words.
Well, I just like this CNN thing. I'm like, I want to be Ted Turner in this thing. I mean, I'd love to figure out how to have my own Pluto channel about just rock and roll news or interviews or whatever. Remember, like old MTV used to have such great music shows
when it was actually music television.
Yeah, and I think that's important because we don't have a lot of music television. I mean, I do travel the world, and if you go to Costa Rica or Argentina or anywhere else but here, they still have music shows, dude.
True. Very true. Are you going to call it King TV?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't figured out the name yet, but that'd be cool. Hey, and I was even going to go so crazy. I was going to get my own FM freaking signal, man, out here. Screw it.
Wow. Well, you know.
That'd be fun. Well, yeah, because a lot of people still are listening to FM radio. I mean, I'm in the Coachella Valley, dude. So we don't get KROQ out here. We don't get I mean, we have satellite and that's, yeah. But there's no local radio that's, you know, like KROQ or something like that, you know. So maybe I can make a little KROQ down here. I mean, obviously we know the Coachella Festival is very important. And, you know, we have a lot of stuff going on up in the higher desert, up in Joshua Tree, a lot of cool concerts and stuff. And guys are actually putting stages in the middle of the desert, generators, and then just telling the people, hey, just stay in your cars and just listen to the music, dude. And it's working. It's very, very exciting.
Man, it definitely sounds like you have a plan for after and even possibly during the pandemic right now. So, I mean, that sounds like an amazing feat that you're doing.
Well, you know, it's happening. A lot of people are doing it, and you have to be, once again, you kind of got to be resilient because we just had 3 months of touring, and we're not even. I mean, I know with Pepper, they got a big old tour planned. You know, the tour was supposed to be now was slightly stupid, and it was a big tour, but that's off. And now they're saying, oh, it's 2021. But you know, who knows when the next time we can have those kinds of numbers again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very difficult right now to tell, and you know, I mean, I'm looking forward to, you know, to the tours. I'm looking forward to the concerts again because, you know, it's, you know, music is music. I always say this at the end of my show, music always heals all. And right now it's been doing exactly that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely switching, and it's music is important. And we've seen people do the live broadcasts and all that, but you know what's so funny is some groups that I see live when they're on TV, it's like, no, you're not really. You may be real popular, but you're not TV, dude, you know. No, right? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
true.
like this podcast, you have to have a certain kind of voice, and you have to be appealing, and you got to keep the party going and moving and forth. Some of these cats that I know that are selling out 20,000 kids a night, they'll be doing a podcast, and I'm just like, wow, bro, you're kind of boring, you know, because it's a different world, man.
Oh, that cracked me up.
And that's why we love that freaking Tekashi 6ix9ine. Exactly. I could watch that guy all day long, man.
He knows how to appeal. He's like, the way he is, he almost reminds me of Conor McGregor, but the music version of Conor McGregor, you know?
Yeah, it's a fight. It's like a fight. It's like a battle.
The guy that everybody hates, like the guy that everybody hates to listen, but you can't stop listening.
And you love looking at him, and you're like, wow, this cat. Hey, but he spits some. I mean, and he's spitting some knowledge about the music business.
The billboards, I heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's real talk right there. I mean, that, you know, that is very true, my friend. I mean, you know, when they want to move the pendulum up or down, I mean, that's when you're at that level, you know, and we've been there a few times. I was kind of hoping this year when we were up for the Grammy that someone would do that for Steel Pulse, because Steel Pulse is so dope to me. But Coffee won, and Coffee's great, from Jamaica. You know, she's great, young. You know, but I was hoping someone was just going to push that pendulum for the boys. You know, that would have been fun.
It's all politics at the end of the day, and you know, it's all business, it's all money, and it's funny because when I saw that, I mean, shortly after that, Ariana Grande had a lot to say about that. She was like super pissed about that. Basically saying that, they're only allowed four units to buy 4 units, something like that. That you're BS, and she got pissed, and then she was kind of making it about gender. She's like, well, how come you're only picking on me? How come you're only picking on a female? And then Bieber stepped in and said, you know what? If you're gonna go ahead and talk, smack about Ariana, you're gonna have to put my name in there because it's both our songs. And I'm just like, oh, well, I mean, it just seemed to me, to be honest with you, that Tekashi was mainly targeting neither Ariana nor Bieber. He was targeting Billboard itself. And the fact of the matter that you can go ahead and buy that.
About the business, the
exactly.
game, man.
They took it personally. They took it like it was an attack towards them. That was a personal attack, and it wasn't. I didn't see that it was a personal attack. I saw that he was just attacking the Billboard and how they conduct their business and how they are able to manipulate numbers. That's how I saw it. That's how I heard it.
Well, that's the business. And, like we were talking about, some of my earlier years. I mean, there's always been that part of the game that always had to be, dealt with, and you still got to deal with it. And the higher in the trees you go, you still got to deal with it. And but there's a whole new game going on, especially because, and obviously we know TV and media and social media is at an all-time new high. Because, dude, we're not going to be able to go tour exactly for a minute,
For a while, yeah.
So that's all we can give them is stuff like this, information like this. I want to do a lot with I'm doing with my how-to videos. If you ever wanted to know, how did that get played, or how do you, or just stories on how do you navigate yourself in the music business,
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a lot of guys to call. I got a lot of businessmen. I got a lot of artists that can talk, and they all want to talk about it because Gene and the young guys are kind of sitting there. Well, hey, I just had 1 million hits on my thing. Well, 1 million hits is only like fucking what, $8,000, $7,000. I mean, if they can live on $7,000 to get 1 million hits, I mean, you know how long that takes? I mean, to get 1 million hit, that could take 8 months.
That's true.
So what are you doing? You're really sitting there going, hey, I just got 1 million views on my shit. Took me 8 months. So that means, well, proactively, you only made $1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing these days.
I mean, go get unemployment. You make more than that.
That's very true. Well, Ronnie, man, I mean, are you also working besides with Lifeline, besides with Pepper, besides with the new artists that you have? Who else are you working with currently right now with music?
Oh man, it's been so interesting. As a lot of artists have been just sent, like, I don't know, they're coming from everywhere, really. I just had this French guy. I don't even really remember his name, but it's kind of like this random stuff. Can you make a record, and can we still work during this time? And so it's coming from everywhere. It's coming from Costa Rica. I'm working with like the biggest bands in Costa Rica. I mean, Gandhi, Pedro Campmany. Oh, it's Pura Vida Land. And, I've been down jungle recording studio out there that's going to be dope. And, it's going to be a place where you could go record, but still hang out, go surf in the day. And the water's fresh, the food's fresh, everything's fresh. And then go record a couple cool reggae songs,
Nice, man.
And,
that definitely sounds like the translation of Pura Vida. Pure life.
Well, yeah, well, and as well, they may, because of the pandemic and most of their money was being made with tourism money, they're thinking about legalizing weed.
That would work. They might as well. Everybody else is.
Everybody else is, and you know what? They can tax the business, and I mean, I've already got 5 guys right now. Just like, hold on, if it goes, dude, I'll do the best I can do to get you on the front line.
Nice.
Because And these are real players that are, doing it here in the States, right?
Nice.
So that could be really fun.
And profitable.
And just, profitable. And I just, man, I love doing my philanthropic work with the people there in Costa Rica, and as well as all of Latin America. We're doing great things. And my solo record, I have an orchestra from the Ukraine, from Lviv. And it's an amazing orchestra. We're going to do like 12 songs. And I've got John B. I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do all the hit songs I've ever played on, and then get them to just come back and re-sing their own songs, but only with a cool orchestra, right?
Wow. Suffice it to say, you are definitely staying busy.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm busy, and I'm like, I tell my wife, it's like I'm busy in a weird way, because it's like I just go from one project to another. It's like I don't really think about the time. I just think about, some basic needs. Okay, I'm hungry. Okay, great. I need to take a break. All right. Hey, I need to work on this song for 8 hours. Okay, great. It's just like, it's really changed the way that I get production done, and it's really cool. I really like it, really, to be quite honest.
Is that some good advice?
I really like
it. Is that some good advice that you could go ahead and give to like these young producers these days, to always take a break and always make time for yourself?
You really do. I was just telling my artist here, they drove in from LA and there was like traffic and stuff. I said, just chill out, man. Chill out for 30 minutes, chill out for an hour, jump in the pool, whatever, because if you come in and you're like, oh, sorry, we're like 2 hours late or something, and then you're just trying to rush it all. It's better you take that 1 hour to just chill out. Then you come in, because songs don't have to take forever to do, That's what we used to do with Pac forever. Johnny would put a beat down. I would put some keyboards on it. And in 30 minutes, Pac, he would go, okay, I'm ready to write. And then it would take him, he'd only do 5 or 6 passes anyway. So within 45 minutes to an hour, the song was done.
And that's the thing is that at the end of the day, you have to relax. You have to like really relax and be relaxed, so that way you could, shell out a really good product. Because otherwise it's just so much pressure that you're more focused on the pressure rather than on what's at hand right there.
Yeah. You just got to have your mind together. And it was funny. I'm writing these books now, and that was one of the things. It's like, when you walk into a studio, be prepared, be ready to go. And even if it's in your house and you're like, hey, I'm going to start recording at noon, but when you're there from noon to 6 or however long you're there, really be present with it, really be conscious, really try to make the best track you can instead of getting sidetracked or all this. Because, there's a lot of cats like us out there that are really putting in the work and really want things to pop,
No, totally. So you talk about books. Which books do you have out right now for people to go ahead for you to recommend for them to go ahead and check out?
My new one is just getting the final touches to it. It's called the 7 Sacred Keys.
7 Sacred Keys, okay.
And basically all it is, it's just like some simple navigational tools to keep an artist motivated. If they ever get like, oh, I just don't know what's going on, and it's basically like, look, you wake up, you take a shower, hey, practice for 30 minutes, play the piano, or, even though you want to make a hit song, you want to do all this stuff, do some basics that are like things that'll help you motivate throughout the day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Something that'll relax.
So you just don't sit there and come in and make a track. Hey, why don't you spend 2 hours and put some sounds together, or, really investigate, so there's just a lot of things that I do, and it's basically just my process of how to keep things going and stop. Don't try to make phone calls all day with your business and then try to make music. I can't do it, really, for me. I like to do my interviews in the morning, dude, when I'm fresh, 9 to like 1, I'm good. You know what I mean? And then I have the rest of the day. I'm not picking up my phone. I'm not getting, sidetracked, because there's a lot of things that'll sidetrack us, you know? So it's just like really focus on the music when you're doing it. And then it's like, okay, hey, take dinner, you know, really be there, you know, and be involved in your music and be involved in the process too, you know?
No, that's awesome, man. That's definitely good advice. And Ronnie,
Yeah.
how can people stalk you on social media?
Dude, it's Ronnie King Official. And we're everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, you know, LinkedIn. And it's so funny because each one of those platforms have different people that deal with you, you know?
Mhm.
Like the LinkedIn, it's the manager that calls, you know? Hey, Ronnie, we want to, you know, do a song with you. And what do you think about, you know? And it's always a conference call, you know, with a bunch of guys on the line. It's like, but then you get the Facebook guys, and it's like, hey, bro, I haven't seen you since high school. Hey, man, what's it cost to produce a song? I mean, it's just like, oh, wow, okay.
Well, now we
And
know
then
why you reconnected with me.
Yeah, you know, and then it's like, yeah, and then it's like, and then the Instagram is just kind of like, that's the hip place to be. So you just got to be there. And all I do is really just keep it business. I mean, I just keep it in the studio. Like right now, you know what I can do? Then you probably, but this is just kind of some of the fun that I love doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could be here like right now. So you can't see this because I'm watching you, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the Xander Effect doing a memorable interview, which will be awesome. But you know what I'm doing? I'm doing a selfie with my little iPad in the studio. It's Shad to Relaxo. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of a prelim to the actual interview.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's what you gotta love about technology these days, man. So that's definitely something you take advantage of.
So that's what you're gonna see when you're on like my internet stuff. I mean, you know, all the bands I work with all have like super pro dudes with 4K and red cameras, and it's all super tight. And I love being with them and doing all that. But when I'm just on my grind like this at the house, like doing an interview or working, I just like, hey, I think this, you know, I think that's what they're looking for from me. It's like, wow, this cat really does work a lot. And it's a day-to-day, moment-by-moment thing. And I'm not like making a bunch of videos just here's my food or something like that. It's like, man, here I am. I'm back on the grind. Wish me luck, you know?
No, I completely agree, man. Well, Ronnie King, you know, I look forward to, you know, some of your music that you got coming out. I look forward to your new endeavor as far as, you know, creating your own network. That would be really cool to watch as well. I look forward to a lot of stuff, man. I hope to have you. Thank you so much for being on the Xander Effect to begin with. And I hope to have you again very soon, maybe to talk about your new network. That would be a lot of fun.
Man, when I get it up and running, we'll make sure. And maybe there's a way that, you know, I want to make the network, of course, so it all works together with everybody else. So there's some technical stuff going in, but we're putting it all in this weekend. We'll have the lights, like I said, dude. And I got Peter Dante, dude, and I've been really twisting his arm. But I want to do like you know how Saturday Night Live does the news show?
Yeah, Weekend Update.
Weekend Update, dude. And you just, hey, this is Ronnie King and da-da-da-da-da. Who's touring right now? Nobody. You know, make it kind of funny music news. But it's really kind of like MTV or music news, you know.
Well, man, I look forward to it. Ronnie King, thanks again for being on the Xander Effect, man. And we'll talk very soon.
Xander, thank you so much for having me. And I just appreciate everybody listening. I'm one of your new biggest followers. So if you see me, like it or share it or tag it, everybody else do the same thing. And we've got a beautiful platform here to be able to talk about music. And you had some great interviews as of late. The girl last night was really good. I liked her.
Sherry Nelson,
cool.
Yes. She was amazing.
Yeah, Sherry Nelson. She's cool.
Awesome, Ronnie. We'll talk soon, man.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Okay, take care.
Thank you so much, Ronnie King, for being on the Xander Effect. Hope to have you on the show very soon. In sports, it is a sad day, unfortunately, today, as Los Angeles County Fire Department have identified the body of ex-WWE superstar wrestler Shad Gaspard. He passed away at the age of 39. He was last seen on Sunday as he went out on a swim with his 10-year-old son when suddenly a strong current came and pretty much took them into deeper waters. Now, when that happened, the lifeguards and authorities were trying to frantically get out there to save them. But before that happened, Shad basically told lifeguard and the authorities to go ahead and save his son first, which they did. They saved his 10-year-old son first, but when they were trying to go ahead and save him, another current came and pretty much took Shad Gaspard. And last thing that the authorities said is that he actually went under. He actually submerged. Obviously, when they said that, I mean, people were hoping for the best, but obviously that's never a good sign, especially since they were looking for him for 3 days and they couldn't find him. They finally basically said that they found his body washed ashore off of LA's Venice Beach. The body was seen by a local that was around there who called the cops at around 1:30 in the morning on Wednesday today. And when they got there, sure enough, they did unfortunately identify the body as Shad Gaspard. Again, he was 39 years old. He is considered a hero, not just because he saved his son's life, but he had also stopped an armed robbery in Florida as well. And, unfortunately, he did die a hero. So rest in peace, Shad Gaspard. My condolences go to his family during this very difficult time. In other sports news, looks like Vince McMahon is still hell-bent on making the XFL work as he's trying to buy the XFL. So according to an article on ProFootball.com by Mike Florio, it seems that Vince McMahon's trying to reacquire the XFL, but not exactly for the purposes, well, possibly for the purposes of reinventing it. But according to the article, Mike says, quote, the XFL declined comment to Kaplan regarding the potential strategy that would, if effective, allow McMahon to escape debt at a time of devastated revenue and reemerge on the other side of the pandemic with a clean slate. The clues as to the creditors' beliefs come from their objection to a proposal in bankruptcy to pay $3.5 million in season ticket refunds. The committee of creditors wrote that the payment is, quote, is being sought to further the efforts of the debtors controlling equity holder secured lender Vincent McMahon to acquire the debtor at a fire sale price. End quote. The ticket refunds would be aimed at bolstering relations with customers in anticipation of future business arrangement. So in essence, according to the article, basically Vince McMahon's trying to escape an already declining business that he has right now. The WWE has been suffering with ratings. It's been suffering through a lot. And then here comes this pandemic, and then no ticket sales because there's no stadium, there are no crowds at any of the events. WrestleMania took a big hit. The XFL then went bankrupt, but I mean, to be honest, the XFL was already going bankrupt as it was. There was hardly any fans going to the stands. So for Vince McMahon to honestly just keep on pushing this, I don't know. It just seems like he's trying to beat a dead horse. It's like, McMahon, let it go. It's you're never gonna be a football mogul. Okay, stick to what you know, stick to wrestling, refocus all your efforts on trying to pick up, what's going on with WWE as it still continues to decline. You need to focus on that and stop focusing on a business that failed. I know that, Vince McMahon's the type of person that cannot accept failure. But you know what? Like the old song goes, sometimes you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Coming up in video game news, looks like the new DLC for Call of Duty has a couple of rumored spoilers in it, you might say. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up next. But first, here is JP Castillo's Besame Mucho right here on the Xander Effect.
Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Oh, bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piensa que tal vez mañana yo estaré muy lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Oh, bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después.
Yo, what up? This is AB.
Hey guys, this is Sean Kanan.
What's going on? It's Amanda Holley.
Hey, Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains here.
This is Maxim Waddle Riley Sawyer.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Xander Effect.
I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you want. Pull up on you, hop your body in the bed.
Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you need. I don't even know, but I know I got a headache, girl. Where you going with your badass? Think you got a fat ass, you should let me grab it, girl. You make it hard to get my hands to myself. Is that your man or he just somebody? Help me. Shorty, you can get your body on my ass. I just wanna get your body in my bed. Pull up on you, hop your body in the bed. Ready, let's go. Let's roll. Girl, you know I got that fire, spark that lighter up the smoke. I see the way you looking on your lips, I know you wanna take a hit of this. We got plenty of Henny and marijuana. Taking the panties off, you ready to put it on. And she taking off her clothes. Baby, just run her while she running on me slow. Bobby, run her on me slow.
Wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what you want.
Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby.
Roll up a ting, tell me what
You know I had to show love, cause when you make it bounce, that body get 20 ounce of that Coca-Cola. Shake it up, then I watch it bubble like soda. You know it's over when I introduce you to the Cobra. Legs on my shoulders, body smoking like sour D. So baby girl, my guess is you a ill roller. I bet it's so good, this shit'll put me in a coma. I'm a killer, you bout to catch it like this shit Corona. Baby, you a stoner, I got a lot of by your friends. And when you done, shorty, hang the phone up. Damn, shorty, take a pic, rich nigga shit. Hit a lick, spin it quick, give you back shots like I'm ignorant. Slide up inside you. You ain't believe me that I saw you like Riley. Call me a Illijah.
I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. I can't wait no more. I'll take your love if you want me to. Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby, 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 baby. Roll up a ting, tell me what you want. Roll up a ting, get high with me, baby, baby, baby. Roll up a ting, tell me what you like.
That was Riley Sawyer, Illijah, and ex-young Chrigga. Roll Up right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, we got a brand new DLC, Call of Duty Modern Warfare DLC, and apparently, according to multiple sources, it seems that they added a feature in Warzone, and it's a bunker with a bunch of hidden stuff inside of it. And what's going on is that, according to multiple sources, they say that could be kind of a preview of one of the new maps that's going to be in the upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops, which, again, it's tentatively titled, or actually it's a rumor to be titled, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So many sources are saying that what's hidden inside this bunker, this map, this portion of Warzone is actually going to be a part of the brand new map that's going to be in the new game for obviously the next gen console that's going to be coming up later on this year. So that's the rumor mill. Another thing as well that they're talking about is that obviously we know that in the previous Black Ops there wasn't a story mode, there wasn't a single player mode. Looks like that's also rumored to be coming back as well for the new Call of Duty Black Ops. So looking like, because I'm assuming that they're doing that because although the last one was okay, it was really cool that we went directly from getting the game to immediately playing multiplayer. A lot of us actually like the storyline as well. We love playing the story mode. Plus, it gets you familiar with a lot of the weapons and a lot of the perks that you get in multiplayer as well. So it gives a person a chance to go ahead and get really familiar with the weapons, the maps, everything, the gameplay, everything. So that's a good jumping point. So pretty much that's what's going on with that. Again, these are just rumors, but if they're true, man, this map is going to be amazing. There's also another rumor that it's going to be similar to a couple of features that are on Fortnite as well. So I mean, obviously Fortnite has pretty much pioneered an open world type of multiplayer game setting that has made a lot of these other games kind of mimic what they're doing as well. They've seen the success of it, so it wouldn't surprise me that Call of Duty, the Treyarch, is going to go ahead and try to do the same thing. So we'll see what happens. We're going to have to wait until the brand new Call of Duty comes out later on this year in the brand new next-gen consoles, whether it be the Xbox Series X or the PS5. We don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and find out. That's the news in case you haven't heard it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, we are still in this crisis. The pandemic is not over, unfortunately, and until it's gone, we all have to continue to be safe. When we go out, wear your masks, wear your goggles if you got them, wear your gloves if you got them, so that way you can go ahead and stay safe, not just for yourself, but also for your loved ones. And always thank all these essential workers for all the work that they've been doing. Make sure you thank them every time you go to shop at one of these places where they're working at. And remember, music always, always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Yo. That be tell I told. Yeah, you did. They ain't believe it though. One life. Do Brown. Same game, be telling. What up? Woo! So we kick it like it's kickball. Power couple. She dripping in that Dolce Gabbana. They wanna touch her. Everybody know that's do girl. What you gonna do by it? Me and her take on the world. Now that's the truth.
Hey everyone, the Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., Sony Music The Orchard, and BMG Bertelsmann Group, in association with Art 19 Media.
I should call you face.